Blizzard has fixed the broken part of WoW. Wait, there's a broken... Well, of course there's a broken part of WoW. It's always broken, but it never breaks my heart. I still love the game. We had no idea. Turns out massive parts of WoW were literally broken. Okay, let's see what Bellular has to say about what the hell was broken in WoW. I don't know.
Welcome back, everyone. This is an absolutely stacked edition of the Warcraft news because lots of Blizzard info has came out. We've got cancelled Blizzard games, some dark histories being brought to light, just the story of things like how some of their games have collapsed. Also, we've got a glimpse into just how completely insane and often broken, as in literally invincible, the new player experience of World of Warcraft has been. And on top of that, we got updates with Delves and
invincible
even
player
more
issue.
class updates that have hit the PTR. And I'm going to knock those out first. So Circle of Life and Death has actually been removed from Balanced Druids on the PTR, just, shortly after they added it. So basically, they decided that, no, they're not going to go back to the multi-dotting playstyle because they say that it's too frustrating in AoE, right? That's why they're canning it, which does make sense. But the thing is, loads of other classes experience that problem, and in almost all those cases, Blizzard had a solution, but apparently not one that fits balance. I'm not really sure.
I don't know how Balanced Druids feel about that.
It's really in a bit of a state. Now, there are other things. So, Sub-Rogues, Flagellation is staying at 90 seconds, but Shadow Blades is now coming down to match it also at 90 seconds.
Hold on.
And we're really
what is flatulation? What is he talking about? What is happening with Shadow? Why did he say flatulation? What the hell is that?
Also at 90 seconds, and we're really seeing across the game that just 90-second cooldowns are
hearing things
all converging
it's
on.
a rogue
Over
skill.
Warriors, then, there's a few single target Fury buffs to offset some talent imbalance, but as far as I can tell, the Warrior mains are still fairly mad about the nerfs that they've been getting to their hero talents. On the other hand, mages are seeing a nice buff to Frostfire, and while Fire Mage itself is taking an overall nerf, it is getting a pretty nice increase to its AoE damage, so that at least will make things feel a bit better.
Yeah.
Big picture, then, I would expect...
I think any mage spec, or I should say, Fire and Arcane are just S tier right now. I wouldn't worry about these changes.
Most one or two more waves of class changes, and that's because we're all expecting this patch in roughly 3 weeks. But you can use to save money, be more secure, and access more content. I use them for just that, and at nordvpn.com/Bellular Warcraft, you'll get 4 months free on a 2-year plan backed by their 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, put simply, what have you been...
Where's my NordVPN sponsorship?
As if you're anywhere in the world.
Nord or Raid Shadow Legends. You guys throw money around like it's fucking going old. I mean, going out of style. Where's my damn sponsorship? Maybe they're watching this. Maybe they'll sponsor me now.
You can clear your cookies, fire up Nord, change your region, and you'll often find far more competitive prices. And
better yet, is Raid Shadow Legends banned for you in your country? Use NordVPN to access Raid Shadow. Double dip. I'll take both sponsorships in one video and get rich. How about that?
With that, you
both
can easily save way more than the cost of your subscription. Now, I know that could all sound pretty tacky and complex,
What's up, DJ?
But no, their app and their browser extension make it super simple. And if you want to say throw it on your router for network-wide security, you can do that too. And of course, this is all great for unlocking region-locked content, which is kind of everywhere. Nord stops your ISP from snooping, for prioritizing certain types of traffic you use over other types of traffic, and you get access to their fantastic threat protection services, along with new features like MeshNet, and you can even bundle in some of their other amazing tools, like NordPass to manage your passwords. And best of all, you get 4 months free with a 2-year plan
there it is.
at nordvpn.com/Bellular Warcraft. So big thanks to them for their years of support in the channel, and let's go. Okay, let's dig into all the things that have been unearthed about Blizzard. Now, this comes from the press preview tour for Jason Schreier's upcoming book, which is all about Blizzard's past, present, and future. Of course, expect a full breakdown from us, like soon or at some point after the book comes out, but for now, there certainly are key things for us to talk about. First up, the games that we could have had. So, before unceremoniously departing Blizzard following the nightmare that was the Battle for Azeroth story, Alex Afrasiabi was apparently leading something codenamed Andromeda. Now, this was to be a modern God of War style action game where Thrall essentially would have been our Kratos, and it's a sad dad game.
Oh my god, I remember the rumors about this, that we were going to get some kind of like single player RPG version of World of Warcraft. It kind of would have been badass, I'm not going to lie. The reason why I would have liked to see it is to see like Orgrimmar or Stormwind or all these different famous places in Azeroth from a different viewpoint, maybe different graphics settings. I don't know how they would have made it if they would have gone for some realism in this game, but it probably would have been really cool. I'm sad they never actually did this.
Complete sense for Thrall to sort of fill that Kratos role. As it stands, we know nothing else. Immediately, it does sound like an amazing concept. The problem, though,
Diablo
is
for
Alex
Game Boy. What the hell? Diablo for Game Boy? Does Game Boy still exist? I thought the Nintendo Switch took that position over. Are there still Game Boys being sold? I didn't even know that. Starblow, what the hell is this? Some kind of Pornhub thing? What? Starblow, Sci-Fi Diablo. I wouldn't search Starblow in your browser. That might not bring up the right thing. Nomad, post-apocalyptic turn-based development. Wow, there's so much stuff before World of Warcraft. Avalon, a Minecraft-style Warcraft game. What the shit? There's some crazy ideas in here. Licensed Star Wars game? Blizzard could have gotten a license for a StarCraft that would eventually led to StarCraft. Oh, okay. That eventually led to StarCraft. So some of these things are like really far back. Helldivers 1 style Warcraft game. What the heck? Holy crap. What the heck would a Helldivers style Warcraft game look like? You're diving down and fighting the Scourge? Oh my god, I just said that out loud. That actually sounds freaking amazing. Could you imagine being a Helldiver in Strathome just fighting off diseased people? This would have been, oh my god, this list is filled with so many gems. Damn, I kind of wish some of this stuff would have happened. We missed out on some great stuff, guys.
Sounds like an amazing concept. The problem, though, is Alex as the lead. We saw what his influence did great. To Battle for Azeroth story, all that Sylvanas nonsense and BS. He was creative director of World of Warcraft through that period of time. And, then there's him being named in the DEFH case that kicked off pretty much all the Blizzard drama and actually got Blizzard into a position where Microsoft could gobble them up at a cheaper price. Now, that's just one game concept, though. There are other things we know, like the original version of Diablo 4 that was essentially Diablo, but with the combat of the Arkham games and a third-person action game. There's the likes of the advertised but canned StarCraft Ghost, and we were quite well acquainted with the idea of a canned Warcraft Pokemon Go. But there were many more. Starablo was one, actually.
The Warcraft Pokemon Go one was supposed to be like pet battles or something. I still think they should do that. I mean, I'm not like a big phone game person, but like I just think that's such an easy win for Blizzard. I feel like a lot of people would do it. A lot of people would play a Warcraft-style Pokemon Go game. Now, would it be as popular as Pokemon Go? Probably not, because Pokemon's a bigger worldwide franchise than Warcraft is, but I think it would be very popular.
It's done by Blizzard North before...
Basically, you tie in-game rewards to it, like some cosmetics or something, and everyone who plays WoW would download it.
Their crack at Diablo 3.
Nintendo would sue them, probably true.
Sci-fi Diablo. There's also Bloodlines, a space vampire game, which I suppose as a Stargate Atlantis fan I can kind of like. There's a Battlefield-like StarCraft shooter that essentially died at the altar of Overwatch 2, needing more devs. On Warcraft, then, well, there's two things they did before.
And now that you guys mention it, that's probably why they didn't do it, actually. Yes, the lawsuit. Nintendo will lay the suit hammer on anybody. Yeah, probably lawsuits. Might have stopped them.
One of them was a post-apocalyptic turn-based game called Nomad, and then there's Warcraft Adventures, Lord of the Clans, which eventually was adapted into book form by Christy Golden, and pretty much establishes the core of Orcish lore. But the one that really fascinated me was Project Avalon. So this was a Minecraft-style Warcraft game that they were developing around the same time as Mists of Pandaria and Warlords of Draenor. In many ways, that seems kind of goofy, a bit weird, but think about Blizzard. Their whole thing was basically to blatantly copy something that other people were doing, but implement it better. You know, do that Apple thing. Don't invent the technology, but tie it together in a user experience that can actually go the distance. Of course, it only lasted 2 years, and to my knowledge, there are no leaked development screenshots. Then finally, for Warcraft, at one point, they wanted to do a Helldivers 1 style game. So that essentially would have been a top-down co-op action thing. Of course, that also died. Now, there is a little bit of good news. They're actually working on a StarCraft shooter again. Dan Hay, who is the relatively recent Blizzard vice president, previously of Far Cry fame, is...
what's the one that came out just right now? The Warhammer? It looks great. Like, that looks like StarCraft. To be completely honest with you, it looks like basically a first-person view of StarCraft. So, I mean, or third-person view, I should say. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. They should do this. Yeah, Space Marine 2, yeah, they should just do this. I mean, it's, I think a lot of people would play it.
Lead in that one, and this is, of course, after the entire unannounced survival game completely collapsing. Third time's the charm, I guess. We also learned some other sad things. As an example, why Warcraft 4 never materialized. The short answer is, there was no universe in which it would make enough money. Team 1, the real-time strategy game specialist at Blizzard, the people who actually quite literally built Blizzard into what it was. Team 2 only exists because Team 1 couldn't make StarCraft 2 and World of Warcraft at the same time. The way things went down is that Team 1, the RTS specialists who literally built Blizzard, right, like the original team, the people who made all the IP, they went on to do StarCraft 2, and they were shown a hell of a lot less love after that project. The thing is, StarCraft 2 did well. It just did not do very, very, very well compared to, say, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and a bit...
The sad thing is it wasn't that team's fault. It was just the genre for a StarCraft type, top-down RTS game like that just had died off a little bit. That's the truth. The StarCraft 2 was a fine game. It's just, wrong genre, wrong time kind of thing.
Later, Overwatch, which were all printing money hand over fist, and that means that for Blizzard, RTS just was never worth the investment anymore. The team were actually so desperate to make any form of RTS that they even pitched Activision on a Call of Duty real-time strategy, but that was a non-starter. Then, of course, Reforged was the plan. It was going to be a bit more of a remaster initially. That gave way to, the slop that we ended up getting, and with Reforged failing, all hope for Warcraft 4 was well and truly gone, and some of that team skittered away to make Stormgate instead. There is, of course, a little bit of a silver lining for StarCraft, though, so the StarCraft RTSs are actually on Game Pass for PC right now, so that's certainly a good thing, and that there is a StarCraft shooter is kind of surprising to me. I honestly did not expect that. I just assumed they would treat it like a dead legacy franchise. The thing is, though, if they wanted to do another StarCraft RTS, well, it would have to be someone else at Microsoft, because right now, Blizzard sure as hell do not have the RTS developers.
Well, I mean, Microsoft has them, right? What's the game that they make? Oh my god. They just redid it, too. It's one of the medieval style ones. I played it all the time, too. Is it Age of Empires? Was it Age of Empires that Microsoft makes? Man, they just redid it, too. And it was, very successful for them. So they have a team that's ready to make an RTS, that's for sure. They know how to do it very well. And they could just pass the IP off and let them do it. Path of Exile? No. There's an RTS that Microsoft makes. Is it Age of Empires? Damn it, I can't remember. But they just redid it in a very, revamped form. No, I can't remember. I'll have to look it up here in a second. But Microsoft has the manpower to do this, and I think they should sometimes pass off some of the IP. If they're just going to do a revamped version of it, that's fine. Let Microsoft do it. They have the decks.
Next dive into the Blizzard situation is what happened all those years ago whenever we watched them crumble to dust after Cataclysm. Now, we already knew that they were working on Project Titan, and that Titan would eventually become Overwatch, but we didn't know just how bad that project was. Rob Pardo, vice president of game design at Blizzard, was stretched so thin that he essentially completely failed as producer and director of Project Titan. They spent...
Yeah. It's Age of Empires. This is the Microsoft one. It's all on Xbox and everything else too. Yep, that's it. I thought I was losing my mind there for a second.
$80 million over 7 years, and they made tons and tons of game, but never an actual game. As an example, Titan Town, which is what they called one part of it, had fishing, photography, gardening, and even hacking. Of course, on top of that, you also had superhero combat, you had dungeons, and the thing is that each individual bit was good, but they could not commit to an overall game loop, an overall vision. This is a project that was started to be Blizzard's own WoW killer, the next big thing. But with ambition like that, and I think insulated by the cash cow that was World of Warcraft, they instead faffed around for years, making, apparently, per one artist, enough art for 5 games. And that's even to the point...
Yeah, I think they just got too ambitious. Too ambitious with this game. They even, I heard Chris Metzen before talk about they were going to do professions, where you were going to have a daily job to do in the Overwatch world. Beyond that, it was a first-person shooter, MMORPG, which really hadn't been done at that point. Yes, we've kind of seen it now with some games that have come out. They're not really full-on MMOs, but Destiny and stuff like that. But it was a weird genre. Plus, I think the fact that World of Warcraft just kept doing good, that they got scared to kill it. Because this was supposed to be the next thing. So it just, I don't know. The Overwatch project just got too big too fast. It was Titan back then, though.
Point where people would do art for a character, but actually find that their whole art management system was so antiquated and weird that actually somebody had already done art for that character 2 years ago. It really does feel like the archivists of the Imperium of Man in the 40k verse. Rough. The thing is, they did not have faith in a direction, they did not have a final vision for the product. They were too caught up in trying to be the World of Warcraft killer, and the fact that Overwatch came out of it is an absolute miracle and a testament to the good work that had been done within that very, very troubled project. Of course, it's a project that took away top talent from other Blizzard games. Of course, games like World of Warcraft, and often in situations where they didn't exactly have enough focus and enough of a succession plan to, well, not have those other games suffer, which they were probably fine with.
I wonder how much WoW suffered as a result of the Titan dev project. Like, they took away so much manpower, for sure, from Warcraft. Probably when they went back, they had to, like, quickly plan out a bunch of things they needed to get done for WoW when this project did get folded up. It was huge, man. Titan was huge. What did they say, like $80 million or something like that was spent on Titan? And it wasn't all wasted because it did become Overwatch. But, my God, I mean, the amount of dev hours that went into this thing, those were never recovered.
Titan was supposed to be the next big thing. Titan actually failed so hard that Bobby Kotick massively increased his influence at Blizzard because basically it seemed the trust was broken.
That fucking little Bobby Kotick goblin rat. This was his way in. This was how he got into Blizzard eventually. He had already purchased them, but he had let them work on their own because when they were having success after success after success, if Bobby went in and did anything and the next thing wasn't a success, he would have been blamed directly for it. So he had to wait for a failure to get his little goblin hands into Blizzard, and Titan was that failure. $80 million, basically, he came in and said, hey, Bobby's here to save the day. And that's when they started getting his influence in it.
With that, you may think, great, I'm sure they learned a lesson there. No, they did not. The recently killed Project Odyssey suffered from many of the same problems. According to developers interviewed, this survival game that we all knew as the unannounced survival game was actually quite good, but it just wasn't enough for Blizzard. When people in the team suggest they release it in an early access state to basically take on the big survival games of the time, like Valheim, and to actually get players and build the game with them, the internal response was, no, we're Blizzard. We make big, epic games that sell millions and millions of copies. It's that problem where there's an almost biblical level of pride in action there. The problem is that that's of course completely unfeasible. If they had have shipped something, they at least would have had a game come out. That game could have caught on, and maybe by listening to their players and understanding how their players played the game, they'd be able to find a vision for it and support a development team.
Maybe, but I'm not a big fan of the paid beta tester stuff that some of these companies do now, where basically you pay for a game that is broken, and you have to beta test it essentially and fix the game for them. Call out the bugs and things like that. I'm fine with the game if they want to figure out, like, okay, let's see, this is a fully fleshed out game. It's a great game, and we're going to see what the players like to do most, and we're going to go in that direction. That's fine. But I feel like a lot of these days, these companies intentionally ship broken games, and they're like, yeah, we'll let the players figure it out what's broken, and then we'll just fix it as we go. That's kind of what happened with Cyberpunk, right? Like, that shit was broken as hell. It wasn't even playable at some points. But they just had to release the game and just let the people pay for a full-on game, beta tested for them, basically, paid beta testers, and they fixed it as they went. Now it's in a better spot. But man, initially, that was you paid for nothing, basically.
But instead, Blizzard were so concerned about ensuring their games were perfect instead of good, actually fun, and something that people could play, that they just ended up canning almost everything. Just kind of tragic. If you want the full deep dives, head over to our news channel. With that said, let's get back to some World of Warcraft stuff. This is a real goofy situation. I'm sure you've heard of Hardcore Classic. Well, the opposite of that exists. It's called Softcore Dragonflight, and it's real. I did not know this. Did you know that for the last month, new players have been immortal while leveling?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm not joking. They've been immortal. Mm-hmm. Ian actually said to Windows Central himself that he knows this is a problem. It actually turns out that while we've been doing our delves and everything in War Within, new players have been having a blast, but not in a good way. Right now, World of Warcraft pushes new accounts through the Dragonflight leveling experience. But that was a problem, because in their early testing with people, just newbies found it too hard. They didn't really understand what was going on. And for them, they'd be entering Dragonflight content with absolute newbie starting gear, not fresh off the back of, Shadowlands gear. Essentially, a lot of that flow was designed for veterans, for people who've played loads.
Well, I mean, to be fair, anybody who came in full Shadowlands tier set and everything into Dragonflight probably had such a damaged mental state that it was actually a nerf. It wasn't a buff. So they came in with full tier set bonus, but their mind had become so decrepit after playing through Shadowlands that they actually were a worse off player than had they just not played that expansion and just come into Dragonflight. So was it really a buff? I don't know. But this thing's funny. It was basically a thing that was supposed to automatically heal up a new player if they got to 0 health, like only a couple times. It's supposed to have a cooldown on it, and the cooldown never resets, so it was constantly just healing the person up to full health every time they died. So people could pull an entire zone and just continually get their health turned back to 100% every time it hit 0.
Of World of Warcraft.
It's been fixed since
then. And that meant it was too complex for brand new players in their testing. Of course, the problem was they were committed to Dragonflight being the baseline experience. So to fix this, but, not completely rebalance and rebuild Dragonflight stuff, they decided to fix it with buffs, right? 2 of which basically made people permanently bloodlusted and completely immortal. Yeah. Now, the immortality bit was actually a bug, but the whole bloodlust forever thing, well, that's actually intended. Now, the immortality thing's weird. What it was a cheat death-like effect, but the problem was it had no cooldown. So as soon as your health went down, it would save you with no cooldown, so you'd be immortal. That's obviously broken, but I suppose what's weird is that the rest are intentional, and it raises a crazy thought. Imagine playing World of Warcraft on God mode with a completely unexplained 40% haste-like buff. I mean, just going around with Bloodlust all the time, and then having that vanish the second you hit level 70 and go into the new expansion, where you're already going to immediately be faced by having pretty low gear. I mean, that is a weird experience. Leveling already gets a bit slower and harder as you go, so it must feel like a brick wall to those players. Just having the training wheels completely disappear. And I guess with that, no wonder that people end up struggling with delves in Mythic Plus when their first experience of the game, well, for a month involved them being immortal, and I suppose from now on, or at least now until they fix it, just involves them having a permanent 40% haste buff.
Yeah, I actually feel like there are a lot of players, a lot of new players in the War Within, like players who have come to play WoW for the first time, because I think there's a lot of people who came back and they brought people with them. And I have noticed it in Mythic Plus and things like, there's some people who don't really know how to play their class. I don't know if there's a lot of people playing new classes, or there's just a lot of new players coming to the game for the first time. But it seems like there's just a lot of newbiness going on. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. It's healthy for the game to have new players. But maybe the game's not doing the best job of teaching people how to play. I think delves are a great way to learn how to play your tune. They're basically solo content that you can learn how to do some of your rotations in and stuff like that. That's good. Same with Zekvir. He's basically like a soloable boss that you can learn how to do boss fights on and learn how to dodge mechanics and do certain things. So there are ways to learn, but maybe Blizzard should steer new players into doing that content first before they go do Mythic Plus or Raid. Yeah.
What this highlights is just how bad, how weird World of Warcraft's new player experience is. Now, the good news is that in interviews, Holly Longdale, I think in an interview with me, forgotten the interview, but anyway, I'm pretty sure she said that this is something they're trying to properly work on, but obviously this short-term band-aid fix is what they had to ship with. It's absolutely not ideal. As it stands right now, though, the new player experience of WoW is just an incoherent and honestly kind of misleading and bizarre mess. It's genuinely insane how much of WoW just relies on word of mouth and player perseverance to grow. So hopefully whatever onboarding plans they're cooking up do come sooner rather than later. I cannot imagine the amount of players that WoW simply does not have because the new player experience is so weird. And if you really want to go on a trip, turn on Mentor Chat and see the sorts of problems players are having. It's, it's pretty crazy. Next, we've got a funny little story. The trading post. It's kicked up quite the debate, mostly because at the start of October, it was actually bugged, and also because the jellyfish is not very Halloween. You see, when I went live this week, it was weird.
It should have been the broom. Everybody knows that. It should have been the broom, or like a new color variation of the broom, because they did the broom before. But they put the fucking broom on the WoW store. They put it on the store. I mean, of course this was going to be bad press. Why the hell? I don't know. Sometimes they make decisions and I'm like, of course you were going to piss people. You didn't see this coming? Really? Or at least make this more like Halloween-y. Like, take this and turn it into a jack-o'-lantern. Make the top of it a pumpkin. And make it orange with like a little, you know, fucking torch thing hanging off or something. Like, you could have made this look very Halloween look, and people would have liked it. But instead, you gave us this and then put the broom on the auction house, on the WoW store. I mean, yeah.
No
Bad
reward
decisions.
for filling the bar. The reported reward, the Shadowlands jellyfish, was just on the post itself for 600 tendies. Now, this was fixed later on Wednesday, but one thing did stick. The mount was 600 tendies, but the actual Halloween-themed transmogrification set, the far more coveted thing that actually thematically fits the month of October, well, it's not the monthly reward, it's just 800 tenders. And I suppose the question asked then is...
Yeah.
Why is the big, exciting, thematic transmog thing not the monthly reward, considering it's the month of Halloween? Surely that's the thing that's the better call. So that confused people. The second part of the outcry, then, is that last year's mount, which is this broom, is on the store for $25.
It's crazy,
yes,
man.
It is a $25 broom. That's pretty crazy, even compared to what some other WoW mounts have ended up costing in the store. A bit weird, and certainly complaints are rolling in that they're kind of relying on FOMO to sell this expensive, I mean, pretty damn price-inflated item, you know, right now.
I'm surprised it's $25, to be honest. Like, is this how much is the Grizzly Hills Packmaster? Is it the same? Because that thing is way better. Like, I mean, it gives you transmog, gives you repair. Like, that's a way better mount than the broom. And it's a fucking bear. And that thing costs way less. Holy shit. The bear is $20. Wait a minute. Is the bear less? Is the bear less than the broom? Oh my god. Yeah, my god. How did they justify this price? Well, this makes no sense. The broom is fine for what it is, but it doesn't give you... It's a stick. Fucking Nimbus 2000 for $25. What the hell?
When, of course, a new wave of players for Within
the bear
were not
way
able
better.
to get it on the trading post last
year.
For
less money.
But I suppose, in a way, I've always seen the trading post as that. A way to just sneak lots and lots and lots of things into World of Warcraft to later on, you know, sell them. I suppose more than anything, it can feel a bit sloppy and just as if they do not have a clear vision for what this feature is supposed to be, especially fresh off the back of months and months of very underwhelming monthly rewards. That being said, next month is... it's going to be expensive. For a good reason, at least. That's because the class sets are coming back, but they're no longer going to be class locked. They will be armor-type locked, so... If you say if you're a warrior and you like the Death Knight version, well, you can pick that up and transmog it, so definitely remember to save your tendies. If you've ever wanted Thrall to lead you into battle, I've got mixed news. You can't do that, but what you can do is have him lead you to the local shop. And that's because Waze, just software that gives you directions and traffic reports, has partnered with Blizzard, like officially, to add Thrall as a voice. And he won't just direct you physically, he will also direct you spiritually, offering you words of wisdom and strategy as you drive. But of course, he is an orc shaman, so he could...
It feels fine. Why is there a failure going? I don't know. Should mute those right now.
And I don't really know what effect that has on the road. All right, let's finish it off with
Delves, the other day was
amazing.
Got
a bonus week. So what you'll get is bonus Delver's Journey progress, bonus Undercoins, and Bran experience. So you get all of those, as well as two weekly quests. One, which is to do 3 delves at any tier. That'll unlock you a Pinnacle Cache, which is just one of the standard weekly boxes. And then if you finish 2 more for a total of 5,
this thing's over.
To go, say, kill Zakfir or something like that, well, it will be handy if your Bran is super powerful. And it now turns out that with fresh changes, you can just go and spam Zakfir a few times and have a completely full vault of 616 gear in about 10 to 20 minutes. So if you want to learn all about that, check out this.
That got nerfed too. Zakvir doesn't contribute to your vault anymore.
Next, which is our guide on the newly nerfed Zakvir and all you can get from him.
Yeah. Great video. Yeah, a lot of funny things going on in WoW. Obviously, the broken thing with the immortal players was kind of funny. But mainly the stories of the projects that have fallen off at Blizzard. I mean, my God, there's some things that I kind of wish they would have finished out there. The Minecraft version of WoW. What an interesting thought that would have been. Yeah, this list is crazy. What cool stuff, man. But I'm sure every dev company has a list of dead things that never came to fruition. Blizzard isn't special in that regard, but nice video from Bellular.